So can we rank emergencies? I mean, can we say that today it's not so important, refugees dying in our names and stuff? Can we say that the refugees dying is not so important because we have a virus?
I think it's very difficult to rank in relation to the hysteria that is going on.
But this hysteria is a fake feeling, so I mean, do we have a real problems?
I think the problems are always real, but it's also relative because it always depends where you are, what you feel, and what environment you are in. So it's always in context to something else.
But don't you think this, what you call this hysteria, is not something that has been created in order to make a diversion from the rest? I mean, this is very useful for people that want us to forget the rest.
My point is that the consequences of this hysteria is real.
What do you say?
I'm saying that the hysteria is one thing, but the consequences of this hysteria is super real.
But do you think somebody creates this hysteria to make us forget?
I think that one thing of this creation is our use of media.
Yeah.
We talk, we can get updates every second on who's saying what. We create this hysteria ourselves, the system.
And I think that you have to learn how to deal with it. It's about getting information and then extracting the information and thinking for yourself.
They overdo it.
Absolutely.
So there is an aesthetic of panic
Yeah.
to feel like a potential victim.
Yeah.
So that way you don't have to speak about the other problems.
Yes. Yes. Absolutely.
What is an emergency today? What is it?
I think the question gets, in this situation, it gets very personal. So the question is, who is doing the ranking
Yes.
about the most important emergency?
Okay.
And this maybe at the moment is in the hands of the media, certain politicians. So we have to get back the definition of the emergency in our hands to answer that question.
Say it again.
No, I think the media, it's very easy to blame the media.
Yes.
As always.
Yes.
But at the same time, we are just dealing and being confronted with it constantly. And the more emergency you have, the more is the media impact.
Yes. But
It is also interesting to see, Thierry, that we have for a very long time now have watched this virus, now talking about this emergency, seen from apart. It was happening somewhere else, and suddenly it's coming closer and we begin to panic. We begin to feel that it affects us.
Because it's a very personal question.
It is.
You think about your grandparents, about your kids,
Absolutely.
about your partners.
But when you speak about individual emergency, that's it. We speak about, we just want to save our family, but we don't think about the global system.
I think it's very, I think it's very difficult because obviously as closer as an emergency is and as more personal emergency is, it's this is actually what drives us, or what you say, like when things are far away, it's too far, basically.
Emergencies are then emergencies if they are personal. Is that a kind of a... What is the relationship between something which is affecting the personal and the definition of an emergency?
I mean, emergency for me has to be connected to empathy. So, if people just see a problem, if it affects them, then we will never solve anything. So now we can see with the panic that we are as selfish as we expected. We don't create any brotherhood with, I mean, this crisis is going to clean out the poor people. Yes, this is good.
But I also think that starting on a smaller scale in your personal life to actually change your vision on emergency is already good, because you get a certain understanding and you also train empathy.
Yes, but this global emergency is something that should be debated
On a larger scale.
in a forum between us. Because I would say, for me, the emergency is to solve what's happened in Greece, for example, at the same speed than this virus or climate change. So this ranking will put three things, just to name three and not one. I will speak less because I will be tired.
But what do you think? What do we need in order to act more globally on that level? Besides empathy, like how do we?
I mean,
What is necessary?
we need to define where to push the alarm, at what moment, and also which alarm. So let's say what we are getting now, it's a feedback from, basically it's almost a punishment of all the bad things we have done.
Yeah.
Not to sound
Symbolic.
religious or something, but basically here we don't deserve but much better, but other people, they got already everything difficult, so they will be also affected. Oh guys, I'm finished. We'll take a small break. This crisis will tell us that we have solidarity, like you speak about, solidarity here, solidarity with the Syrian,
Yes.
with the Syrian victim or whatever.
Yeah.
But what it shows that we cannot be solidarity because we are told to fear each other. So how to be solidarity when you become a bomb yourself?
As soon as there is this level of personal involvement included in that process,
Yeah,
it will be very difficult for people to make that distinction between what is solidarity, where is the limit,
yeah,
and how do I at the moment simply survive, which is the question that you are confronted with
yes,
every day by talking to your colleagues, to people you meet
yes.
for lunch. It's always the same question.
But why don't you? I mean, you have this. If you were, if you use the word survive, what about climate?